Good morning to all. In this video, we are going to learn about different approaches of IR. There are total 10 approaches related to industrial relations. In this video, we will be discussing 5 approaches. So, first 5 approaches are psychological approach, sociological approach, human relations approach, Gandhian approach, and system approach. So, we will be discussing all 5 approaches in detail. In second video, we will be discussing about other 5 approaches related to industrial relations. First, go into psychological approach. The problem of industrial relations lie in the perception and attitude of the participants. So, what is the meaning of that? The perception and attitude of the participants. So, we all know the perception of individual is differ from person to person. The same time, when there is a perception, when there is a differences in the perception, automatically there is a change in attitude. So the attitude of the employees depends upon the attitude of the employer. So how do you perceive? So a poor problem of industrial relations lies in the perception and attitude of the participants. Means who are the participants in IR? The participants are employer, employee, and government. So the government might enter lately, but the two important participants in IR are, or you can say two important actors. One is employer, second one is employer. So they might be an employer and employee, but first there are individuals. When you are talking about individual, the perception of individual differs from person to person. When there is a change in perceptions, automatically there is a change in attitude. When there is a change in attitude, there is a change in behavior. So the industrial relations talk about maintaining industrial relations, harmonious industrial relations among both participants. So when there is a change in perception, when there is a change in attitude, it creates a problem to maintain harmonious relations with the two parties, within the two parties. Next, the study by Merson Hare on the behavior of two groups, namely union leaders and executives. So we are talking about two participants here. The two participants are the employer and employee, and one party is union leader and another party is executives. Executives are from the side of employer and union leaders are from the side of employees. Next, the general impression about a person is radically different when he is seen as a representative of management from that of a person as a representative of labor. See, you need to understand the logic here. What is the logic here? When individually, when you are forming, when you are talking or when you are communicating informally, the relationship differ from the relationship we are maintaining in a formal way. The same time, when there is a negotiation process going on between the employer and employee, automatically there is a change in their attitude. How their how the attitudes are changing? The attitudes are changing based on the impressions about a person. For example, there should be a negotiation or they should be come to a common agreement between the both parties. So automatically the representatives from the side of management and the representatives from the side of union leaders, they will be knowing who is sitting on the negotiation table, who is coming for negotiation, who is going to make an agreement. So automatically the persons who are meeting at the negotiation table, automatically there is a change in impressions. Impressions means the impressions so far that a person has been created before in the minds of the both parties, from the side of the labor, from the side of the management. Next, the management and labor see each other as dependable. So before going to a negotiation table, the attitude and the perception of individual is very important. So at the same time, what are the impressions both parties has been created so far? So far means how far you have been maintained relations in the organization, how far you have been communicating, how good you are with your employees, how good you are towards the welfare of the employees. At the same time, how good the employer is taking care of the employees. At the same time, after when there is a less dependability means if the one party is not trusting another party is not trusting the first party, there is no use of going for an agreement. So when there is a change in perception and attitude of the participants, automatically the labor and the management, the topic, the participants which you are talking is, if the both parties are less dependable, that means the employer is not depending on more on the employer, and the same way employee is not depending more on the employer. That means there is a lack of trust between the two parties. Next, the management and labor see each other as inadequate in thinking regarding emotional characteristics and interpersonal relations. See, psychological approach delivers in a way that how the perception of an individual changes, whether the side of the management, that is one participant, and other side is the labor, that is the employee, when they feel that they are inadequate in thinking about their emotional characteristics. For example, we have to go for an agreement. When you are going for an agreement, there must be a dependability. One must trust other in an agreement. If one party is not trusted by other party, at the same time the other party is not trusted by the other party, when there is no chance of agreement, when the negotiation is going on between the two parties, there might be a chance of their emotional characteristics might play a role. Play a role means because they don't have a proper interpersonal relations. If they have interpersonal relations which are properly maintained, automatically the emotional characteristics of a person doesn't play a crucial role in negotiation. If there is no proper interpersonal relations, their emotional characteristics plays a crucial role. They feel that this negotiation is inadequate when you are maintaining, when you are considering the emotional characteristics of an individual. This is psychological approach. Next, sociological approach. This approach includes various sociological factors like value system, customs, norms, symbols, attitude, and perception of both labor and management. See, sociological approach comes from different aspects. Sociological approach means how far you have, what are the value system you have been living in, what are the customs you have been developed so far, what are the norms you have been following, what are the symbols you have been given importance. At the same time, in sociological approach, the attitude of the perception, that means the attitude of the perceptions, that means the psychological approach also plays a crucial role in sociological approach. Both parties, again, both parties means when you're talking about industrial relations, two important parties are, again you have to remember, two important parties are labor and management. Whatever the disputes they're having, whatever the disturbances they're having, whatever the requirements from the both parties they're having, these are the two important parties to solve the problems in a peaceful way. At the same time, to solving the problem, the sociological factors also affect the decision making of the both parties. What are the factors to be considered once again? The value system, which is good, which is right, what are the customs you follow, what are the traditions, customs, traditions, caste also plays a crucial role, education level also plays a crucial role, the attitude and the perception of both parties, it will affect the decision making made by the labor side and the decisions made by the management side. As an industrial relation gets momentum, a set of new industrial cum social patterns emerges. These influences shape the industrial relations. For when there is a momentum is going on about industrialization, there is a new patterns have emerges. How do you consider the factors? How do you solve the problems? How do you rectify the disputes? How do you find the root cause of the disputes? Nowadays, the industrial relations are determined by power. Power means the power might be the financial power, or the power might be support from the third party from the outside the organization. That is sociological approach. Next, human relations approach. The word itself defines human relations. Human relations approach is propounded by Elton Mayo, who is a humanist and believes in the positive nature of the employees. So Elton Mayo defines that the positive nature of the employees will help to maintain relations from any person in the organization, from with any person in the organization, with any person. When the positive nature is not playing, then you can't maintain proper human relations. According to him means the Elton Mayo, given human initiatives from management, the employees positively listens and responds properly to them, and hence there is no room left for the conflict to arise. Human initiatives means the management and the employees both both have to listen positively. The employees or the union leaders have to listen positively what the management is saying, what the management is seeking from the employees. At the same time, the management also listen positively towards the union leaders. What employees are expecting from the management side. If they have positively listened from the both parties, then there is no room for conflict to arise. When you're listening positively, automatically employees feel trust and dependability on each other. On each other means on both parties. Both parties means the employer and the employee. However, Marxists and pluralists did not appreciate too much stress on the positive nature of the workers. What about the Marxists and pluralists? They say only the positive nature will not affect the human relations. What influences human to work means the style of leadership adopted by the organization and the motivational factors. So what is the style of leadership means? Autocratic style, democratic style. There are some more styles: autocratic style, democratic style, free reign style. So what is the style that management is being adopted? Whether the management adopted a autocratic leadership, whether the management adopted a democratic leadership, whether the management adopted a free reign leadership. The relations and the positive aspects of any employee in any organization depends upon the type of leadership adopted by the management. So the motivation means if you take any individual employee, motivational factors plays a crucial role. Maslow's hierarchy defines some most motivational factors which satisfy the needs of the employees. Psychological needs, we already learned in second semester about Maslow's hierarchy. Psychological needs, safety needs, social needs, and egoistic needs. The four stages affect the motivational factors of any individual employee. When you talk about psychological needs, in the psychological needs are food, water, clothing, and shelter. Safety needs are physical needs, financial needs, and job security. Social needs are belonging, affection, love. You can add anything when it comes to social needs. Egoistic needs means self-esteem and esteem from others. These are the important factors which makes the employee motivates. These are the important factors which also dissatisfy the needs of the employee. Next. Next approach is Gandhian approach. The Gandhian approach is been called as trusteeship approach also. Gandhiji says truth, non-violence, non-position, non-cooperation, ethics, satyagraha, and trusteeship. Gandhiji defines these factors means one is again truth, non-violence, non-position, non-cooperation comes under trusteeship. So truth means you need to speak always truth. Non-violence, you should not go for violence. Non-position means you should not occupy anything. Non-cooperate, cooperate. So workers' right to strike. Gandhiji also says workers have right to strike. Concept of equality. There is no room for conflict of interest between the capitalist and the laborers. What if conflict occurs? So these are the important points. One is workers' right to strike and the concept of equality. Everyone is equal in the organization. Everyone is equal according to the rights in the organization or according to the levels. When when if there is no room for conflict interest between the capitalist and the laborers. Capitalist means if conflict occurs, what happens? If conflict occurs, whether they say good for strikes or lockouts. So Gandhiji defines that two things that Gandhiji expect from the workers: awakening and unity. Awakening means getting awareness from oneself, for ourselves, for individual, for self. Awakening, nurturing faith in their moral strength. Moral strength means you need to believe yourself, that moral belief faith in your moral strength, that leads to creating awareness and awareness of its existence. It doesn't mean that you need to nurture the faith of moral. You need to create yourself a self awareness that it has been existed in yourself, and being of unity is strength. Gandhiji advocates demands should be reasonable and through collective actions. Gandhiji says, again you are going for previous slide again, workers' right to strike, concept of equality. When there is a workers have right to strike, Gandhi says workers have right to strike. But if strike is not is the last remedy from the workers for the workers, strikes, garrows should be the last weapon should be used by the workers. So Gandhiji should be reasonable, demands should be reasonable through collective actions. Demands, whatever the demands that one management is asking, what are the demands that employee is asking, should be reasonable according to the laws. Same time, when the demands are reasonable, you can achieve the demands through collective action only, not through strikes or garrows. Gandhiji again says that you need to avoid strikes as far as possible. Avoid formation of unions in philanthropic organizations. You can't form a union when the organizations were philanthropic. So you need to identify in philanthropic organizations you cannot form a trade unions properly. Again, Gandhiji says that strike should be the last resort only. Strike should be the last resort. Last resort means this is the last weapon you can use towards the employer. In case of organizing for happens, in case of organizing a strike, workers should remain peaceful and non-violent. Like if you are using your last weapon, you should remain silent and you should maintain peaceful in the company's ambience or company premises. Next, the last approach we are going to discuss in part 1 is systems approach. Systems approach is defined by Professor John P. Dunlop, who is called as father of IR. So the Professor John P. Dunlop concentrates on three aspects. Three aspects are participants in the process and environmental factors and output. Participants in the process means participants are who are participants we are discussing about so far in IR. The participants in IR are the government, employer and employee, and the environmental forces or environmental factors. Environmental factors means there are political factors, technological factors, cultural factors, social factors. A lot of factors will affect your focuses on industrial relations. And these two, the participants in the process and environmental forces, will give an output and their interrelationship. So John P. Dunlop concentrate on these 3 points. When these 3 points are managed properly, then it leads to interrelationship and harmonious relationship. See, in this diagram, ideology means ideology. Ideology means the ideology of the actors. Actors are both. Who are the actors we already discussed? The actors are the employer, the employee, and the government. These three actors frames rules basing on their ideologies. when they create an ideology, how do they create? They create ideologies or rules basing upon the environmental factors. Environmental factors. So their ideologies are important. These ideologies should be affected different environmental factors. When the environmental factors considered, then only the proper output will be coming. Next, environmental factors: market, budgetary restraints, technology, distribution of power in society. Who are the participants? We already discussed: union management, government, and outputs are rules of the workforce. So, if you want to make a rule, you need to identify what are the environmental factors which will affect the participants. The participants are the union management and government. Three parties: the union management and government, the two parties. So these participants should depend upon different environmental factors which affects an organization or which affects an individual, and make a proper rules at the workplace. Then only they can maintain harmonious relations in the organization. Next, the main participants are the workers and their organizations, the management and their representatives, and government agencies. We have discussed so far. And what are the types of environments in systems approach are: technological characters of workplace, market of economic constraints, the locus and balance of power existing in society. That means a political subsystem which changes every time in the environment. Next, what is the output of this approach? The output is the result of interaction of the parties, actors of the system, which is manifested in the network of rules, countries' labor policy, and labor agreements that facilitates a fair deal to workers. How I am forming a rule, how I am making a rule, I am making a rule basing upon the country's labor policy and labor agreements. When I am making a rules and regulations according to the country's labor policy and the labor agreements, and basing on the ideologies of those agreements and laws, I am facilitating a fair deal to the workers to maintain industrial peace and to make a proper productivity in the industry. Thank you.